Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about something that has been bothering me for a while because I hear a lot about it, and I just wanted to give you a demonstration of what the issue really is. So macro photographers, folks who photograph flowers, etc., they all love to use what's known as a diffuser. And the diffuser is basically, it comes in many sizes, triangular shapes, round shapes, square shapes, etc. But they all fundamentally kind of look like this. And there's an area which is basically a diffusion material that allows some amount of light to pass through it. As you can see, I mean, if I hold this thing up, you can't really see my face through it. So when light passes through this, if the light is very close, like when you have a softbox or a strobe light, and you put this diffuser in front of the strobe light, the intensity of the light is a lot, and it will go through and light your subject. But in the most cases, when this is used in normal sunlight, and I will show you in a demonstration as to what happens, is when you put this up and, between the light and your subject, at a distance, all you're doing really is casting a shadow. And it's no different than using a black card or a white card or whatever that really doesn't allow too much light to pass through it. But yet, this does act like a light source if it is properly positioned. So what you really need to do is to make this into a light source and bring it as close as possible to your subject. Now, when you bring light close to your subject, it's the softest light that you can have. When you have the light further away from the subject, it becomes harsher, it becomes more of a point source. So if you have a diffusion panel that's about 12 to 14 inches or larger, you want to maximize its entire surface area to give you the right kind of light on your subject. So let's just go outside and see what it is. I mean, it's not the best day, but let me demonstrate to you what I mean by casting a shadow and getting appropriate light. So what I want to show you is how to use this diffuser. And, we all have these diffusers and cards and things like that. But if the sun is bright and you want to diffuse the light, if you use a diffuser, as I have the camera trained on the side white panel of my doorway, and I use this diffuser, as you can see, I'm casting a shadow. So that's not really going to help. Now, is this any different than if I was to use this black card and place the black card on the same doorway? So in reality, this diffuser is doing nothing more than casting a shadow. And is that what we want? No, we want nice, soft, diffuse light. So how do you get nice, soft, diffuse light? The only way to do it is to learn how to use a diffuser properly. So let me bring a plant and position it here, and then let me show you the effect of the use of the diffuser properly versus using the diffuser just as casting a shadow on the subject, and that's really quite useless. So let me just go get the plant and set it up, and then we can go to the next step. So the sun is not as bright as it was a little while ago. It's kind of gone behind a little bit of shrubbery, but let me see if I can still demonstrate what I'm talking about. So this basically is what I call casting a shadow on your subject. But now if I bring this diffuser close and bring it really close, you will see that the subject starts brightening up. And with the way the light is, unfortunately, I can't really show you the full extent of the brightness. So I'm going to see if I can reposition this somewhere where there is a little bit more light. I have the yellow columbine, or Aquilegia as it is known. And what I'm going to do first is just show you what happens if I use a black card and cast nothing more than a dark shadow on the subject. And that's really what you're seeing, is nothing more than shadow being cast on the flower. That's in direct light. You can do exactly the same thing with the diffuser, cast a shadow on the subject, and it looks terrible, really looks terrible. So if you want to really diffuse this and create some nice diffuse light, what you have to do is to bring this diffusion panel close enough so it is a nice big source of light, and it's also a soft source of light. So let me just bring this now closer and closer to the subject, and you can see how beautifully it starts glowing. And look at the effect that true diffusion causes instead of just a shadow. If I move this away, notice how the sunlight comes, and now look, that's shadow. Now that you've seen that demonstration, let me just show you a similar kind of situation inside. So what I have is two Lytra Pros that are set to 100% intensity and at the warmest temperature setting. So they're set to about 3000 Kelvin. And this is just, to do a demonstration of what really transpires when we use diffusion indoors, or basically it's the same thing as when you're using it outdoors. So what I'm going to do in order to show this, I'm going to switch over to the camera that will be actually capturing the images. And this is what you are seeing with the flower and all of the light on it. As far as the exposure is concerned, I'm at f13. My ISO is, let me just check the ISO. So my exposure settings are f14, 1/125th of a second at ISO 800. It's not outdoors, it's not sunshine, so ISO 800 is good enough for this demonstration. What I'm going to do now is just to show you the full impact. I might in fact turn down the rest of the lights that are shining on the subject. So let me do that. So now there's no other light that we have on the subject, and I need to up the exposure by just a little bit. So the shutter speed now is 1/100th of a second since we killed all the lights. So let me just show you what this diffusion panel does. So here's the view. Exposure is perfect, and I'm going to put this diffusion panel as close to the lights, and as you can see, it's nothing more than creating kind of a shadow on the subject. Now, if we had more distance, the shadow would be even greater, and you would actually have a very dark subject. But now let's just move this gradually closer to the petals of the flower, and you will see how beautiful the light intensity gets and how wonderful all of the light in fact shows up on the subject. I'm going to clamp it to a little clamp to give you a better view, but that's really what's going on. You get really beautiful soft light. It envelops the subject, and it looks really, really good. So keeping your diffuser as close to the subject as possible is really the best way to use this particular product for what you're trying to do. So I hope that was of some help. And, one of the things that I do want to mention is that the principles of lighting don't change. They still are exactly the way they've always been. The closer the light source, the softer the light, the further away it is, the more distance it is, the harsher it gets. The larger the light source, the softer it is. The smaller the light source, the harsher it is. So using those principles, when you use this diffuser or a diffuser like this, you want to maximize its surface area, bring it as close to the subject as you possibly can, give it that soft light, give it that beautiful glow that you can get. And I'll tell you, in the harshest of sun situations, this is your best friend. It's amazing how beautiful the light can be, even in the worst of conditions. So with that, I'm going to end this video. I wish you all the very best. The pandemic hasn't gone, so be well, be safe. And please do subscribe if you like what you see. Give me a thumbs up. If there's any topic that you want me to cover, let me know, because I'd love to do another program on that. So with that, we'll end this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care now, and wishing you all the very best.